Hey, my creative friends. My name is Shannon from shannonstudio.com. And I am here to talk about a creative life, what a creative life looks like. So I've been doing that for 356 days in a row. So I'm going to end on July 31st. That'll be my goal for the year. And I'm just on the last little bit. So what, 11 days? Wow. So 11 days. And then this month, hey boyfriend, Alan. This last few weeks, hey Rose, I am talking about the launch that I'm going to be doing of Creative Heartbeats Club. And it's going to be very fun. And it's a membership group where you pay every month to be part of the group, and then I will give you prompts and lead you on a creative path to have more creativity in your life, to explore some things, and it should be really fun. And I have really kind of tried to take into account not to burden. I mean, whenever we do something new, we have to accept that there's going to be changes, and it'll be, hard and good, and that's that sort of thing. But I've tried to tailor it so with one-page prompts, so it's not like way more. I mean, there's a place for that where you dive deep into something and you get into all of it and all the messy, and you go deep. And this isn't one of those things where we're going to go deep. But it should be it'll be good for us. I really think that'll be good for us. And speaking of that, yesterday we sat outside in the backyard, and for whatever reason we were talking about my course and stuff like that. So I came and got my, accordion file that had the whole course in the accordion. And I took it out and answered the question. It was beautiful out yesterday. And then I'm looking for it this afternoon, and I couldn't find it anywhere. But I remembered I had it last outside, and I thought I brought it in. I go outside, and of course it had rained last night, about 2 in the morning. And I remember running upstairs to shut all the windows, but had I known my work, so all around now I've laid out, I've taken all the work out and laid it out. And hopefully, you know how ink bleeds when it's on the pages? I'm hoping I can decipher the pages afterwards. I'm just going, of course I did that. Yes, of course I did that. But luckily, I mean, I did have all my notes in it, all my, because I've taken some of the things out of the idea book, but some of the stuff wasn't in the idea book because we're going past the idea book into course creation. So it's like, I put all these notes in there, and I've been collecting. I just was like, sometimes, what can you do? I haven't really looked at it because I just don't want to have to deal with it. It's just like, so, and of course I did that to myself. But today we're going to talk about a quote that I read yesterday, and I thought, oh, I like this. And it is from Big Magic. Yes, Big Magic. And she says, it's Elizabeth Gilbert, she says, perhaps creativity's greatest mercy is this. By completely absorbing our attention for a short and magical spell, it can relieve us temporarily from the dreadful burden of being who we are. Okay, first off, the dreadful burden of being who we are. I don't think she means like you hate yourself sort of burden. I think she's just like life sort of burden. Because nobody's life that I know of or have ever met has gone perfectly, or just the smooth sailing, or they didn't leave their stuff outside in the rain. I mean, nobody's life, there is burden to life. Okay, so she goes on to say, so she's talking about this short magical spell. It can relieve us temporarily from the dreadful burden of being who we are. Best of all, at the end of your creative adventure, you have a souvenir, something that you made, something to remind you forever of your brief but transformative encounter with inspiration. And I like that. That's the way I have always felt about creativity. And I was trying today to think back as far back as I could remember, and I can remember being transported on so many occasions when I was in the process of doing something creative. I mean, and I can, and I was thinking particularly about my grandmother today. She took me to toll painting classes and oil painting classes, and she cooked with me, and she taught me how to make Mounds bars and fig cookies and angel food cake. I wanted to make this angel food cake I saw in 17 magazine. This was back when 17 magazine was G-rated. And so I showed her this picture, and then so she took me through this process, this little journey. I mean, so I remember so many creative, transformative encounters like she's talking about. And they are inspiring me, and still to me today when I think back of those feelings as well. And so I think all of us look for escapism. Many escapes, many like little mini mental vacays. And escapism, because I looked it up in the dictionary, avoidance of reality by the absorption of the mind in, some other entertainment, imaginative activity. And retreating from unpleasant, unacceptable reality through diversion or fantasy. I don't think there's anything wrong with retreating from... because escapism has gotten a bad rap, I think, a little bit. And I personally don't think that there's anything terribly wrong with escaping and pulling back from the unpleasantness, from the burden that Elizabeth Gilbert's talked about in her book, from the realities that there are unpleasant and uncomfortable things that happen in our lives. And for me, the idea of escapism is like a recharging, like recovering. In the book Creative Calling, Chase Jarvis talks about his life, and he's a professional photographer, and he was working as a professional in the sports areas. So they would be doing these big photo shoots where they take lots of equipment and hundreds of thousands of dollars of time and resources, money spent on these things. And he would, it was a rigid thing. Once you decided what you were going to do, it was very rigid. You couldn't just risk being different and trying something new. And so he said he was getting tired. He loved his job, but he was getting tired of creative rigidity. And so what he decided to do, he said, I needed a simple, open, free creativity in my life. The phone, so the iPhone, the phone became an incredible creative escape. Photography became free for me again, just plain. The iPhone let me be in the moment for a few minutes of whimsical experimentation. And so even for somebody who does something creative professionally, he still needed an escape from his creative profession. I think that, because there's certain feelings, he was talking about free and whimsy and play, there's certain things that we need and that help rejuvenate us from our routine lives or regular lives. Also, in the book The Science of Creativity, a Time magazine issue, says, Darwin says, my chief enjoyment and sole employment throughout life has been scientific work, and the excitement from such work makes me for the time forget or drives away my daily discomfort. And so there is this realness that we need to plan and have escapes, time that we can forget, time that drives away discomfort, as Darwin said. We look for coping mechanisms, either consciously or unconsciously. We look for ways in order to retreat, because we can only take so much. We can only deal with so much. And so we look for coping mechanisms. Now, I think sometimes unconsciously we look for those, and that's where we sometimes might get trapped into addictions and doing things and trying things that aren't really helpful for our bodies. I would rather make a conscious choice of what I decide. So the coping mechanisms are the way we adapt to stress, how we change our environment, even if it's a lot of mentally changing. So we do something so that we can mentally change our environment for a little while. And it gives us control. It gives us comfort. Those coping mechanisms can do those things for us. And I think creativity is one of the best coping mechanisms that there is. It is a healthy way to retreat. It is a healthy way to rejuvenate ourselves. And it says that, it doesn't say anything. I'm reading my own writing. When Elizabeth Gilbert said it's a mercy, creativity's greatest mercy, I think so. I mean, because when we look at being able to deal with stress and burdens and unpleasantness and discomfort, and that we have this ability to forget and to let all of that go and just melt away, even if temporary, and that it brings us joy and carefreeness and play, and we start to feel limitless, and we have whimsy and excitement. I mean, that is a great outcome of having a little escape. And with Creative Heartbeats Club, that's what you're going to have, is a little escape every week. I think I'm going to do it on Saturday mornings, and where you can just check in. We'll talk about the prompt for the week, and we'll talk about some of the journey that some of us are having, and it'll be a little bit of an escape. And I'm hoping that the benefits from creativity, from doing it regularly, will be, they're there to be had. We just have to take the opportunity to grasp hold of them, to just say, yes, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to have as part of my life. I am going to plan my escapism. And I have done this. I mean, sometimes when I think back on how fast and how hard our lives were driving with 8 kids and all the things that we were involved in, I just think, wow, that was a lot. But that whole time, and I still do now, I have my creative escapes. I have my times where I just am enveloped in this time cocoon. And so that's what Creative Heartbeats Club will offer, is that escape and that creative escape. So, again, I hate to keep reporting this every day. I'm not set up with the website yet. It's not working yet. The landing page and all the stuff. But it will come. We'll just keep moving forward. Thumbs up, boyfriend. I see all the little thumbs up. Hey, Joan. We're just closing it off for tonight. But we talked about escapism, creative escapism, which I'm a big proponent of it. Big proponent, because it is a coping mechanism. It's a great coping mechanism. It is a great way to pull back and give ourselves some self-comfort and to have some control over who we are and our lives. So, remember, you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye.